3 words. Total War Warhammer. 2 words. Immortal Empires. 2 words. Iron Man. No, not that Iron Man. Yes, Iron Man playthrough. This is what will be happening in this video, and I'll be playing as the one and only Beastman. And primarily aiming to try and get through the short campaign victory conditions. On with the video. Starting out the campaign, you'll learn one thing about Kazarak. Yeah, not the social type, is he? I rounded up the shaman with the rest of my army and attacked the Wood Earth army in front of the settlement. Beastmen ambush on default, so it's not going to be a good time. For them, of course. So let's get in there. Starting the battle, I position my men to surround the army. Put Kazarak over here, Spearman over here again. Actually no, over here. Fine here, put him here. With my army set up, it's now time to start the battle. I charged the enemy at both sides, brought the chariot around to flank the bowmen, and committed the sucky on the enemy lord. And eventually I won the battle, leaving me to kill what's left for XP. After the battle, I chose to devour the captives to restore what was lost. I put in my skill point for Kazarak into campaign movement, and for the shaman I'll be focusing in on unlocking all their spells. I moved my army closer to the settlement to be able to attack it next turn. Speaking of armies, beastmen construct buildings in their own armies. So I construct a building that will give me 20 dread per turn. Dread is a secondary currency that allows you to unlock upgrades like unit capacity faction wide. I recruit a raider and a spearman to keep the units even, and after that it was time to end my turn. Starting out my next turn, I begin by attacking the Wood Elf settlement and... oh no! Oh my! So I decided to get the fuck out of there. Instead deciding to take out the settlements around the coast. I decided to go and head west. I then looked at the challenges of the Dark Gods. Challenges of the Dark Gods are basically like research trees, except the nodes only unlocked after you complete the corresponding challenge. Getting close to the settlement next turn, I clicked on it to see what it would look like if I placed my herds down there. I considered in going south, but then looking at all the other factions I'll be going to war with, not a good idea. So I decided to stick to the same settlement, seeing that the only other faction I'll be going to war with will be an Orc faction, and he only has 1 army and 2 settlements. I declared war on them, and went after the settlement. After auto-resolving the battle, I raised the Herdstone. Now that we've raised our first Herdstone, we have finished our first challenge of the Dark Gods. The first node will give us increased leadership and attack for our Ungor units. I give my Herdstone an enhancement. I choose to take carrion offerings. Now that I've placed down my Herdstone, I have generated a Bloodground. Bloodgrounds will prevent other races from taking settlements that were raised in that region. But first I need to raise settlements and fight armies in that region in order to unlock the ritual. Seeing that I reached the cap of Ungor units, I decided to increase the unit cap. I gave Kazarak increased leadership aura effect. And I give Soul Blight to my shaman. This one here, Soul Blight. I send Kazarak south, but still maintain inside the region in order to gain unit replenishment. Starting out at the next turn, my research was complete. I chose increased unit speed for the next node. I attacked another settlement next turn. Wanting to have a bit more experience in using my army in the shaman spells, I decided to manually do the battle instead of auto-resolving. As you can see, most of my army has Vanguard deployment, which allows me to park my army right in front of the enemy's face. Unfortunately, my Minotaur and Shaman don't have Vanguard deployment, so they have to be at the back. Flanking is the bread and butter of the Beastmen. So while I'll be having a main group attacking them at the front, I'll be having 2 separate units flanking them at the sides. And then moving up the Shaman and the Minotaur into the battle. Noticing the enemy bow units trying to retreat, I used my flanking units to run after them. On the left side of the battle, I charged the chariot into the retreating bowmen, and charged the rest of the flanking units into the battle. With my shaman getting close to the battle, I cast Soul Blight onto the enemy units. As you can see, the Empire is not having a great day. Most of their army have started retreating, and of course there is no escape. And now with most of the enemy fleeing, I have won the battle. With the settlement beaten, I chose to raise and retreat in order to recover my losses. As you can see, I have unlocked a Ritual of Ruin, but I won't start it up yet until I've taken out all the settlements in my blood ground. Because battling and raising settlements in a blood ground gives him more points of devastation, which you see right there. And basically more points of devastation will be good for us in the long run. Seeing the enemy bring an army from the south, most likely to take back the settlement that I just destroyed, I send my army down for a little, meet and greet. For Kazarak, I put in a point for Fury of the Herd, and grabs aspect of the Dread Knight for my shaman. Ending my turn, Gustor just ended up running to the hills. Starting out my next turn, I just head east to the Black Pit, and then accepting a trade agreement with Mr. Uh-oh Stinky over here. And then we find ourselves upon a Black Moon, which gives us a selection of 4 different buffs. I chose Unit Replenishment. I declare war on the Black Pit tribe. Howdy, you like war, don't you? I then attacked their settlement. Considering that there's a siege battle, it will take a few turns before I can actually fight. And unfortunately there are 2 enemy armies at the south, so they may try to attack me when I end my turn. I considered sending my shaman to halt the enemy's movement, but then looking at the enemy's movement range, it seemed like he wouldn't be able to get me. My, how wrong I was. Seeing that they outnumbered me 3-1, I decided to get the hell out of there. So while I was sitting there, I came up with an idea, a little scheme. Now if I were to switch my army into well-hidden encampment stance, it'll give me a boost to my ambush success chance. And most likely that army is going to be making his way down to that settlement to protect it. And if I were to move my army here, we will now have a good ambush. And my did it paid off. To a divisive victory. So after my men had their dinner, it was time for my turn. And wouldn't you look at that? The Black Pit remains unprotected. I set up my siege on the settlement. After waiting a few turns, I finally attacked the settlement. Starting out the siege, I chose to attack from the right side. With the formation sorted out, it's time to start the battle. My plan so far is to have some of my men climb the enemy walls. Usually I don't do this because it makes my men perform worse in battle, but I think that'll be alright. They'll be backed up by the men in the siege towers. As you can see, my men have reached the top of the walls to, greet the locals. To help with our little cultural exchange, I grabbed my shaman to bring a little ease of mind. Well, in this case, soul. Now that I've broken through the front door, I had my men go in and greet the locals. But wait, why are they running?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Of course, not all of them were running away. Some were doing their best to make a last-ditch defense, albeit short-lived. And when you know it, I have the battle. After choosing to raise in an advance, I head north towards the enemy army and their settlement, and now onto the skill trees. I then upgrade my warherd, and with that, I end my turn. And as well as this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Would I be able to get my revenge on the Wood Elves? Would I be able to take out the rest of the Orc settlements? And will I be able to take on my secondary objective? Find out next time in my next video. And be sure to like and subscribe so you can be notified whenever I upload or stream. See you around.